If you're a college student or the parent of a college student, there are some major changes to financial aid. They were passed at the end of last year, but we're now just all starting to understand the impact of all of this. Ron Carruthers from Ducerus College Solutions is here to break it all down. Ron, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
This applies to college students across the board, whether you're going to a community college or to one of the major universities. Is that right?
Absolutely. Everyone's affected, and the changes were fairly sweeping.
Okay, and they are, like you said, they're major, so I want to get right to them so people can sort of understand what's going on. Let's start with the increased requirements to the Board of Governors waiver.
What happens is the Board of Governors waiver is for community colleges in California, specifically San Diego as well, and it's for a family that demonstrates need. It allows them to waive all their fees for the entire time they're going to school. And what they did is made what seemed like a very slight change, but now it's going to affect a lot of these families that would have gotten this grant before. You only had to show that you needed $1 of aid to get all of your fees waived. Now you have to show that you need over $1,100 of need according to their formula, not whether you feel you need it or not, their formula to get this grant. So a lot of families are going to be affected by that. We're still even calculating the numbers of exactly how many.
Okay, so and that's when it gets tricky. It's like you need some sort of special calculator to figure out where you fall in all of this.
Absolutely. As we talk about all these changes, the answer is parents have to pay attention and not wait until it's too late and they can't do anything about it. They need to pay attention to this now.
Pell Grant changes as well. What's going on?
Well, the Pell Grant is designed to help low-income families, and they made two huge changes to it. The first was you used to be able to get it for 9 years or 18 semesters.
Okay.
Now, effective immediately, the max you can get it for is 12 semesters or 6 years. And that may sound like, well, that doesn't not really a big deal, but it affects a lot of families who are going part-time or working or young adults or parents going back to school. It really affects a lot of families where their eligibility is now cut off.
So now you think, okay, 9 years, you should have graduated within 9 years. But keep in mind, this affects people that go to school part-time. Maybe you can only afford to take 1 or 2 classes a semester, so you had this really long plan. Your plan has to be 6 years or shorter.
Right.
To qualify for the Pell Grant.
If you're going to need this money, it needs to be 6 years or shorter now.
Okay, the interest rates on loans have doubled.
Doubled.
Right? What
Yeah.
loans are we talking about here?
The direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans, which are the direct loans that are affecting families to help them pay for college, the ones the government touts as this is going to help you pay for college, they doubled them.
So what was the interest rate before? Now
3.4%.
Okay.
It goes to 6.8%.
That's a huge change.
Yes, and you used to get 6 months after you stopped going to school. The government gave you time to find a job, and they didn't charge you any interest on the loan until that. Now they're charging you interest from the day you graduate school. You don't have to make payments still for 6 months, but the interest gets charged right away. And again, you add that up over time, it's a lot of money we're talking about.
Okay, so I guess the lesson in all of this is start looking for a job well before you graduate,
Yes.
because if you're going to be charged the interest the day after you graduate, you want to make sure that you can start paying that off right away.
Sure, it's not the end of the world, but it's something definitely to pay attention to.
Okay, so and then have to qualify every year versus having to qualify once every 4 years. That's a Cal Grant change.
Correct. So what a lot of people don't realize is, again, since 1955, we've had a grant in California designed to waive tuition for lower income and middle income families. So it waives all your tuition at a state school or UC and up to almost $10,000 a year to private school. It used to be if you got it once, you kept it all 4 years. Now you have to requalify every year, so you have to pay attention because $1 over the limit can cost you $12,000 a year at a UC and aid. And again, you don't find out about it until it's too late.
How do we find out where we fall in these mathematical calculations?
You know, we try to teach classes on it to help parents educate themselves. There's lots of information available. You can actually get the formula that they use. It's free information available on the internet, but you have to be able to understand it, and it's 36 pages when you go to print this formula out.
The good thing, though, is that you're holding free seminars to help people understand this.
We teach classes every month across the county to really help families. They're free. We don't charge anything. There's nothing for sale there, just to explain to them how to understand their situation and what happens here.
Can I ask you when the next one is, in case people
I can't remember.
Okay.
They got to check the website.
No problem. Just go to
I said I was going to look. Yeah, we have it there.
Okay.
I'm so embarrassed.
No, don't be embarrassed, because I definitely think people
soon.
want to be able to go to some of these free classes. The one time we heard the word free when you're talking about college. So
Yeah.
go to the website, and he promises to have the whole calendar on there
It's
as
there.
well.
Sorry.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about is when we're talking about all this stuff, these applications and these loans and getting things in and where do I fall and all, what do you say to people who just get anxious and get anxiety about all this?
Breathe. You know, no, really, I mean, a lot of people worry they're not going to get in or they're not going to get aid, and what's shocking is lots of families, including families that make six-figure incomes, get aid, get assistance, the process goes smoothly. We just tell them you've got to take a little bit of time on the front end to educate yourself about how this really works, and you're going to see an enormous benefit in grant money and your kid graduating on time, getting a job right away. Just breathe. Take your time to get educated. That's what you really need to do.
Would you suggest people start like the junior year of high school?
Sophomore year.
So, okay.
Ideally, sophomore year.
Okay. Ron, thank you so much for
You're
coming in.
welcome.
Again, that information's on his website. And you know what? We'll link it to our website, san diego6.com as well. Thanks for coming in this morning. Let's